Hello everybody, welcome back to my movie review series. Today we'll be discussing Good Will Hunting. You know how we do it, I'll read you the overview as provided by Google. I will give you the logistics about what other people thought, runtime, stuff like that. Then after that, I will give you my overall grade. If you have not seen the movie and would like to, based or not based on my recommendation, you'll want to shut off the video because there will be spoiler alerts. Similar movies, major themes, maybe a couple. But what do we got today? We have Will Hunting, played by Matt Damon, has a genius-level IQ, but chooses to work as a janitor at MIT. When he solves a difficult graduate-level math problem, his talents are discovered by Professor Gerald Lambeau, played by Stellan Skarsgård, who decides to help the misguided youth reach his potential. When Will is arrested for attacking a police officer, Professor Lambeau makes a deal to get leniency for him if he will get treatment from therapist Sean McGuire, played by Robin Williams. Budget of $10 million, box office did $225 million, so very, very good return on that one. I think I did see recently, like, the Matt Damon and who was the other guy? Ben Affleck sold the movie for like $600,000 and like both made like $110K and blew through it in like 6 months. But $225 million at the box office, maybe she got a little higher payday on that one. But 93% liked it on Google, 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 97% liked it on Rotten Tomatoes, 90% on Just Watch, whatever that is. You can watch for free on Pluto TV. I watch it on Prime Video. It'll probably my free trial of Prime's running out, so it'll be probably one of the last ones I do from there. But Google says it's bold, inspiring, and introspective. Yeah, I liked it. It's 1997 rated R drama/romance, 2 hours and 6 minute runtime. So I thought this was a good characterization, good development, good plot moving. And the first time you see it, the smart scenes, everyone's like, oh yeah, I remember I gave a lecture called The Curse of Good Will Hunting. Well, we'll get to that scene where everyone's like, they're in the bar and Matt Damon stands up to the douchebag from Harvard. But yeah. I thought it was thoroughly enjoyable. I really liked I thought the relationship between Will and Skyler was very convincing. I thought, just again, major themes of being a math genius. I don't think that would ever happen. There's no math geniuses that ever exist. But seeing how people think they would react to them is rather funny when quite opposite, literally the exact opposite would happen. I guess it depends. If you solve a graduate level math problem versus if you unify the natural sciences in an hour, it might be a little too quick on that one. But overall, I thought it was very good characterization, solid plot development, thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a solid A. It doesn't have the same flavor as it did the first time seeing it, but going off the first time seeing it, I thought this was a very, very well done movie. So overall, I definitely recommend this one if you have not seen it. I'm sure a bunch of people have. And if you've not seen it and would like to, you're going to want to shut off the video. There will be spoiler alerts. So the movie opens up. You have Professor Gerald Lambeau. He is teaching at MIT. Will Hunting he lives with three of his foster brothers, Chucky, who is Ben Affleck, Sean McGuire, and Billy McBride. One of them, I think Casey Affleck, Ben Affleck's brothers, and one of the people in here. But so they're living together. Again, Will works as a janitor at MIT, and they have some construction jobs and work, just kind of like blue collar work. And so the movie opens up. You have Professor Gerald Lambeau giving a lecture at MIT, and he proposes an open problem for a proof on the blackboard, and it's like, I hope somebody can have this solved by the end of the semester. So Will Hunting and Chucky and the crew, they're kind of hanging out. You have a bar scene. They're cracking jokes with some girl, and Will Hunting's like, no, I'm going to dip out and go home and work on something. So he had seen the problem on the board. And so that night he solves the first problem. So you have another scene then where Gerald Lambeau is at like a class reunion, and it's on the weekend, and he's just socializing, and a bunch of the students come up to him and it's like, we need to know who solved the question, or who did the proof. We can't wait till Monday. And so Gerald Lambeau's obviously shocked, goes back in and see that the proof is right, and then calls in, the next day the class is like, 50 people, and the next day it's like 112 people, seeing who this really smart person is that solved this math proof. And so Professor Lambeau is like, stand up or show yourself to get your reward, which I think is just like, just extra credit, or I don't know if there was an actual reward, but then nobody steps forward. So he proposes another proof that took him and his colleagues 2 years to do, to see if they can solve that one. Meanwhile, Will and the crew, they're like a little league baseball game. They see some dude that bullied Will Hunting in grade school or in kindergarten or something, and as they see him at the baseball game, they leave the baseball game, and as they're driving around getting a cheeseburger, they see the guy again, and Will's like, pull over the car, we're going to go beat him up. And the setting here is South Side against Southeast of Boston, which it seems like a lot of Ben Affleck movies seem to be there, just like the A-Team, or not the A-Team, but the other one he was with that we reviewed with Jeremy Renner. But regardless, so he gets in a fight, the police come, and then when the cops are breaking up the fight, he punches the cop. And so he goes to court, he gets out on bail, and he has a hearing in like a week. Goes back to his job at MIT, sees this next problem being proposed, and starts writing the proof on the blackboard. And Lambeau and his main graduate student or assistant Tom come out and see him writing on the board, and they're like, hey, stop writing. That's somebody's work. And so he said, Will Hunting tells him to fuck off, and then he runs away as a janitor, and then Lambeau walks down this hallway, tries to chase him. He gets away around the corner, and then by the time he comes back, Tom's looking at it, and they're like, yep, that looks right. And so now Lambeau knows that the janitor is the one solving these hard math proofs. And so Will Hunting has to go to his court appearance. Gerald Lambeau goes to the workers' yard and tries to figure out who this guy is, and gets his name and his parole officer. And so Professor Lambeau goes to this court hearing. Will Hunting's defending himself, and he's successfully defended himself against several other cases, and the judge is like, no, you're going to have to go do some time. So Professor Lambeau talks to the judge, and it's like, Will Hunting can stay out of jail if he works with Professor Lambeau and goes to therapy sessions. So he agrees to do that, very reluctant on the therapy, because therapy is an absolute fucking fraud. It is an absolutely fraudulent medical practice, completely and entirely. But regardless, he goes to, he's doing some math proofs. Lambeau, they just have quick scenes, and then he goes to a bunch of different therapists. One dude, he reads books really fast, which I certainly can't read books really fast. Again, I can't do any mathematics at any point in time. But regardless, he goes to these different guys. The first guy, he reads his book, and he tells them the plot line of the book, and then basically figures out that the therapist is gay. He's like, did you find it trouble to hide that you're gay? And so that therapist is really upset. It's like, I can't deal with this lunatic. Goes to another guy that tries to hypnotize him, and then he just starts singing some song and messing with him. And so the last guy that Professor Lambeau has in mind is his old roommate, Sean McGuire. And Sean McGuire is again played by Robin Williams, and he's working at a community college. Again, I thought the dynamic of the relationship between Lambeau and Sean McGuire was very well done. But he's like, I have somebody you need to meet with. He's from Southie like you, and he's got all of the potential in the world. And Gerald Lambeau has the prestigious Fields Medal, which again was fraudulently not awarded to me in both 2018 and 2022. But again, world governments can do whatever they want, and for some reason they like to torture me and kill kids. So kind of a strange thing to do, but I can't control people's behavior. And so he meets Will Hunting. In the first meeting, Will Hunting actually destroys his painting and figures out that Sean McGuire, his kind of characterization is he's kind of sad. His wife died of cancer in an ugly fashion, and he's trying to pick himself back up after his wife has passed. So Will Hunting destroys his painting. Sean McGuire takes him by the throat. And Lambeau's like, if you don't want to see him again, that's fine. And Sean McGuire's like, make sure he shows up again. And so the next day, Sean and Will sit down by the lake with another famous scene of the movie, and Sean McGuire just tears into him, or not tears into him, but basically says, you don't have any life experiences. You're obviously a book genius, but you've never experienced the world or experienced life or experienced love. And so he's like, I want to learn about you, but you have to be be you and not just, this arrogant dick that's hard to, genius try hard or genius, recluse from expressing emotions or talking about his life. And so they go back, they do that, and then they just kind of have a bunch of scenes or a couple sessions where Will Hunting and Sean McGuire say literally nothing to each other because the ball is now in Will's court. And so they do that kind of a while, and then Will meets a girl named Skylar. So she basically, again, the famous scene, they have a friend bouncing at Harvard, they go up there to fuck up some smart kids, is what Chucky says, and they go in there, Chucky starts hitting on this girl, Skylar, and her friend. This douchebag comes over and starts asking, what history class, some surveys, and then, starts talking, asking a douchebag question like what happened in the market economy in the 1970s or something, or the 1800s or something. And then Will Hunting comes over and, flexes the genius muscles on him, and, he starts plagiarizing something, and then Will quotes the exact book and page that he got the information from and puts the guy down. And then at the end of the day, Skylar gets to wait 45 minutes for Will to approach her, and Skylar ends up giving Will her number. And so Will goes up to the douchebag from the diner, or from the bar. They're eating at a diner now, some late night diner. And he's like outside, knocks on the window, the douchebag's inside. He's like, "Do you like apples? I got her number. How do you like them apples?" So another good line from the movie. And so they go on a date, and then he doesn't really call her for a while. And so Sean and Will develop a meaningful relationship, and Professor Gerald Lambeau wants to start getting him into like meetings where he's got like job offers and stuff. Yeah, like being good at math would get you anything besides scapegoated to the point of no social interaction. Yeah, right. And so they kind of go back and forth again. There's another interesting scene where they talk about Ramanujan, and then they also talk about Ted Kaczynski, and if you don't fulfill his potential, he might be a Unabomber, or if he does, we need to give him direction so he can have a good career, a good life. So another good scene there. Some funny scenes, and just Tom again, who's like Gerald Lambeau's grad student, and Will Hunting just comes in and just wrecks all of his stuff. So some more math scenes in there. But basically, Will and Skylar go on another date. They go to a racetrack, and basically tells them about her brothers. Skylar wants to meet his brothers. He says he has 12, and you just foster brothers, but he tells her that it's biological. And so they agree to meet, and they go to like a bar, or another just like a diner or something, with Will, Chucky, Sean, or Billy, and who's the other guy? There's just the four crude dudes that run around in the movie. And so they tell some jokes, they share some laughs, and then Will and Skylar, he still doesn't want to take her back to his place. So they're hooking up now, dating pretty good, and then I don't know what happens next. And so Will kind of blows up at her. They have a tense scene, which I thought was a very well done scene. Just Skylar tells him she loves him, and he's like, he can still emotionally recluse and not really like able to commit to a relationship, kind of a fear of relationship, blanket on the term. And so he tells her he doesn't love her, and then they break up. And so Will and Sean Sean shares with Will how he met his wife, and that he missed this big home run for this Boston Red Sox World Series game. Gerald Lambeau and Sean have a big blow-up scene where they're really angry at each other, and just about what to do with Will. Will kind of walks in on them, at Sean's office, and then Professor Lambeau kind of walks out. And so he has Chucky go to an interview where Lambeau has set up some meetings. He has Chucky go in there and just fuck with them. He goes to a meeting with the NSA and goes back to Sean, and it's like, another memorable moment from the movie about talking about why he doesn't want to work for the NSA. Another interesting scene with Chucky where he's like, telling Will that's like, you don't owe it to yourself, which you kind of do, but like you owe it to all of us. It's like he says, I'll be doing this shit till I'm 50. I'll blink and I'll wake up and I'll be 50 and I'll still be doing this shit, winning a lottery ticket and you're afraid to cash it in. And so Chucky's pushing Will to expand his boundaries. Will does call Skylar. Skylar's 4th year at Harvard, going to Stanford Medical, and so he calls her before she's about to leave, and she says she's still fully in love. I thought her performance, Minnie Driver, was very. I thought all the characterizations were good, but very convincing. Love scene there. About she's in love, it's unrequited, and Will's just like, I live here, I'm not gonna, still kind of attachment issues or something. And so she gets on a plane and she leaves for Stanford. And so Will does end up accepting a job. He goes to some finance firm or something. He goes to and accepts a job there. And then after that, he basically has one kind of final scene where he accepts this job, and then he turns 21, and then Will, Chucky, Billy, and Morgan O'Malley, they're out at this bar, and they get him this car. Which actually, just for plot continuity, it doesn't really make sense. If he just landed a $90,000 job, and everybody else is working blue collar, he could probably just buy his own car. But regardless, that they gift him a car because again they're all low income. It's a rundown beater, but it drives and the engine's good. And so he gets this job, but then after that he leaves a note in Sean McGuire's mailbox, and it says, tell Professor that I'm sorry about the job, but I have to go see about a girl. And that's the exact line that Sean had used to tell him about why he had not seen this Boston Red Sox game, because he had to go see about a girl, go try to talk to which would have been his future wife. And so Sean McGuire and Gerald Lambeau have another parting scene where Sean is getting back out there. He's going to go travel and get back on the horse and maybe show up to the class reunions from now on. And final scene is Will Hunting driving away, clearly going to California to try to meet up with Skylar. And so the genius aspect was again made for very good content, especially the first time watching it. Really like this. The end is smart. What's the point? Is go find love. So like love stories again. It was good romance drama. That was very well done. Very popular movie. A lot of people like this one. But similar movies. And there was a movie about Ramanujan. I forget what that was called. There's another one called Gifted about a girl, fiction. They're all fictional, but a young girl who's like a genius as well. That one's called Gifted. Yeah, major themes. Yeah, helping a math genius. Yeah, that's definitely no. Yeah, that would definitely not even scare people. And they would call you a threat and steal all of your property. They'd blame you for it, and you get denigrated every 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months. But again, like solving a graduate level combinatorics problem versus unifying the natural sciences in like an hour. Kind of a big jump from even what fictional genius looks like. Right, David Eisenbud? Once you see mathematics at the highest level, it's mind-boggling. I like the math, but when it comes to other stuff, I don't mind. Well, it's torture for me, man. Like, I've never formed identity because I'm not allowed to socialize. And I need nothing besides my fucking money or a time frame. And so, yeah, someone's going to help you get a job, someone's going to help you with your career. They're just going to steal your property, lie about it, observe you, act like that's not what they're doing. And then your family's going to think you're a fucking weirdo because it's actually what's going on. And so, good movie, absolutely unfucking realistic. Nobody gives a single fuck about mathematics. It would scare them. They would deny it instinctually. So I definitely recommend this one. This is a fun one. I like drama, romance, and the genius aspect was fun. So thank you for watching my review of Good Will Hunting, and I will see you on the next one.